Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be going over the GetResponse automation or workflow section of the tool. Now this is something, if you have a GetResponse free account, you have access to for the first 30 days. In fact, you have access to all of the premium features at no cost. So in the video today, I'm actually going to go through how you go about setting up this automation. And if you're waiting around to the end of the video, I'm going to give you access to an automation that I'll pre-build for you. It's very basic, but it will get you going. So in the previous videos where we've actually walked through setting up an account, we've set up an autoresponder, we've also set up our landing page, and now we're going to set up an automation, as well as setting up our website with our legal pages, which we also did in the last video as well. So what's the difference between an autoresponder and an automation? Well, an autoresponder is a quick and easy way for you to get people once they're on your list to receive your messages. So you can set them out automatically after a contact subscribes to your list. You can create several messages that go out in the cycle one after the other. But what's the benefit of using a workflow as opposed to an autoresponder? Well, GetResponse answered this question for us, and I'll leave a link in the description below. So an autoresponder is a good tool when you want to send out a continuous series of messages. For example, have an online course and you send out a different lesson each week to everyone on that list. Whereas an automation or workflow is a bit more complex. It also helps you increase your click-throughs. It also helps you understand what your list is doing. So the automation feature is a better choice if you're wanting to do more complex processes. If you want to send out a newsletter with a discount link, you can automate this to send a different message to those that click the link and a different message to those that didn't. So it gives you more control. It also allows you to segment your lists, tag your lists, so you know who have done what, who's not done what, so that you can then retarget that list at a later date. So I'll leave the link to this so you can go and have a read yourself. So today we're going to basically go in, set an automation up. If you haven't done so already, then I would encourage you to go and get your free account, because this will allow you to build your business for free and at least get you started. And then if you feel you need the extra tools and you want to upgrade, then that's entirely up to you. But for somebody that's looking to get into affiliate marketing, this is a great tool to start for completely no cost to you. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. In the next video in this series, now that we've done our build out, so we've built our landing page, we've got our email list set up, we've got an autoresponder set up, so we're sending out messages. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can start driving traffic to your links, no matter what the niche is that you're in, and it's completely free. So I'm going to show you how you can do that in the next video. So if you want to be notified when I put that out, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up and hit the notification bell. So before we go in and actually set up our automation, we need to set up our emails, our series of emails that we want to send, so that we can obviously send those out as and when we need to send them. And when we actually go into the automation, we'll see that it is so different to just the normal autoresponder. If we go to the autoresponder series, we can see here that you can set messages to go out on certain days. So once someone signs up, then you can set on day 3, day 7, day 10, however you want to do it. You can set this up for as long as you want to be able to set that series up. So you could technically have an email series that runs for a whole year, but it will purely just send out those emails. You don't get the metrics in terms of knowing who's done what and being able to change your message depending on what they've done within that email. So the automation is going to allow us to do that. Now, before we can set the automation up, we need to set our emails up, and in order to do that, we just need to go to our drafts. And I'm going to set my emails up in a specific way, and it will make sense as we go through. So once we go into drafts, you can see there are no drafts in here at all. I'm going to create a newsletter because this is what we're doing, and this is what we're going to use for our automation series. So it is quite easy to use. The title of the message is basically just anything that gives you an indication of what this email's for. So you want to name this that's something specific, and you'll understand what it means to you. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to put opt-in subscriber email 1, and then I'm going to put 1 in brackets. Now the reason I'm doing this, and we'll see this as we go through this automation setup, is we can do something with our automations that increases the chances of somebody opening our email. So on the first email we send out, this is the email that I'm going to be sending to them because it's one of one. You can then send a second email, which is pretty much the same as the first, and again I'll talk about that as we go through, but you can resend that email to those people that didn't open or click your first email. So it means you get a second chance or a second bite of the cherry of getting someone to take an action, and that's exactly what we want. So make sure you name this with something that you understand what it means. Next, we need to connect it to a list, and if you ever got any questions, if you hover over the information button, it tells you exactly what it is. So this is the list that you'll check your message statistics against. So this is the list that we set up in the previous videos, and then we've got a from email address and a reply email address. If someone wants to send us an email, they can send it to this address, and obviously they can see where the email's coming from. The next bit is the subject line. Now, I'm not going to go into how you go about, writing really good copy to get people to take an action on your actual email copy itself and the subject line. But effectively, your subject line is what's going to get someone to open. That's what's going to grab their attention. So for the purpose of this, I've done a few emails. I'm just going to use some of these headlines and email body copy that I've done already, just so you can see how to actually set this up, but obviously you'll need to go in and change that up. So we've got our subject line, then we need to add our recipients. So these are the people that we want to obviously receive our emails. Once we've got a list of subscribers, we can do a number of things. We can obviously choose all lists, which we probably don't want to do, depending if you segment your lists. The list that we're going to send our emails to for the purpose of this. So once they've subscribed and we want to resend emails to them, or we want to send them through another automation, we can do that by selecting whichever list you want to do. And there are other things like segments and tags, which are a little bit more detailed, but they give you more control as to who can see what at when at what stage effectively. So we just want to add this list, and then we come down to the design, the content. This is where we can go and actually design our email. So we want to click design, and you can see that we're greeted with absolutely loads of templates, and they all are really professional. You can choose, based on the kind of category or niche that you want. So you can go with festive ones. Obviously this is being filmed in December of 2021, so this is Christmas orientated, but we don't want any of this. What we want to do is have a clean email which gives a clean call to action. So we're going to choose a blank template for the purpose of this. And again, GetResponse always gives you the option of using some predefined templates to help you structure your email better. But again, I don't want any confusion. I just want them to read my email. So I'm going to use the blank template, and you're taken to this bit builder or editor. And again, you can add a logo if you wish to, but I don't really want to do that. So if we click down here, you can see show logo. I'm going to delete that. And then where it says view online, I'm going to get rid of that as well. So just get rid of that. So we're left with something that's pretty basic. So from here, we just want to be able to add our text or our email. So you literally come over to the layout tab, and then you choose a text box, and once you've dragged it across, because it is a drag and drop editor, it's really simple to use. Now we have our text box. Now we can add other elements to this email as well. So if I go back here, if we wanted to add a video, which I am going to do for the purpose of this tutorial, we can add a video link, and then we can click in here to actually put our URL in from our video, which I'll do in a second. And then at the very bottom, I want to add another bit of text just so it finishes off the email. So I'm going to pause the video here while I just fill out this email. So I've just populated with some text that I've already pre-written, and we can see here the email itself looks pretty clean. I've not put the video in yet, I'll do that in a second. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that this is as clear as it can be to someone reading this on, say, perhaps a mobile phone. So I always like to change the text to be a larger rather than the 14 that it's set at. I'll change it to 18 so it's quite nice and big, so it's easy to read. I also choose Arial, but that's entirely up to you, it's your preference. But again, Arial is just easy to read. And then we need to do the same here. So you need to go in and edit your text once you've, if you type it out within the editor, that's not too bad. But if you're copying and pasting a series of emails that you've done elsewhere, you'll need to come in and edit these. Again, I'll change that to 18. And then you can just reformat this and do what you want to do with it. So at this point, the email is pretty much written. I'm going to add a video, and I'll just grab this one for now. and we click go. Once you've got your video URL, you simply go to YouTube, grab the share URL, and you can populate here if you've got videos. If you wanted to add an image, for example, you could do the same thing. So if I've got an image, I'll drag that to the bottom, and then here if you want to add an image, we go to browse. I'm just going to choose one randomly, use this one for now, and there we've got our image. We want to make sure this is as small as we can make it, so I'm going to make that really small. And then if you wanted to align it to the left or to the right, you can do that just by clicking either one of these buttons at the bottom. But I'm not going to leave that image in there because it doesn't look particularly good. We've got a video, we've got some text, and that looks fine to me. So once you've written your email, you want to preview it so you can see what it looks like. And I would always advise you to do that. So you can go, and it says test and preview. So if we go to preview, and this will show you what the email is going to look like when somebody opens it up on their desktop and also on their mobile. So if we have a look, we can see the email looks fine. I'd obviously read it to make sure there's no typos, and then if we go to mobile, again it gives you a breakdown of what it's going to look like. So that looks fine to me. We want to make sure the text is broken up as much as we can. No real big blocks of paragraphs, because it just means it's harder for people to read. So once you're happy with that, if we click the X, I'm going to go back to the email. Now if we want to put other links in here that we want to take people to go and see resources or go to our website or wherever it is you want to send them, it's just a simple case of highlighting the text that you want to send someone to. So for example, if I say I want someone to contact me via Facebook, once you've highlighted that, you'll go to the paperclip and then you can type in your URL here. So if I just go to my own Facebook page, and if I paste that in here, insert, jobs are good and is done. So now we have a clickable link in here, and then what we want to do is, once we're happy with everything, we need to go to next, not save and exit, we need to go to next. So once we go to next, we're taken back to this original page, and you can see here we've populated our details. And then we want to save as draft. Again, GetResponse, when you first start using your free account, will give you prompts so you know when to do things. It's quite a helpful thing, but you can just turn it off, just close it off if you need to. So we want to save this as a draft. Now the reason we're saving this as a draft is because we want to be able to use this message again perhaps in the future, but ultimately we want to be able to drag this into an automation. Now, that might sound complicated, but as we go through this you'll understand the process. So it says we've saved the draft, so we want to go back up to draft again, and if we click in here we'll see that our email, our opt-in subscriber email 1.1 has been saved. And then what we want to do is we want to create another email with pretty much the same title, but this time we're going to call it 1 resend. Because if someone doesn't open this email on the first time round or doesn't take an action by clicking a link, then we want to resend that email. So we need to create another newsletter. And again, I'm going to go through this process. I'm going to set up a few more emails. You've got the idea of what we need to do. So let me just quickly go through here. So opt-in subscriber email. I'm going to put 1, and then I'm going to call this resend, so it's easy to identify when we want to drag this message into our into our automation or workflow. The list that we're linking to, obviously we don't need to touch the email addresses if we're fine with that. And then we want to use a different headline for the email, because you want to make the email look slightly different, because it will be better deliverability. So the original email that we sent, you want to change up a few lines within the body of that email as well. So I'm going to change this to so a slightly different headline. Again, you want to make sure these are something that you would open if you saw that in your inbox. We'll choose our recipients, and I'm going to go with the list that we've chosen. So add that list. Again, we'll go to design message. Now this is where we can speed things up a little bit rather than going through the whole process again. If we click existing messages, we will see our message here. So we can copy the content. And then all we want to do is we want to change some of the text up here. So add something else in, add an extra couple of lines, change it up slightly so it's slightly different to the original message, and that will help keep your email account healthy. But I'm just going to delete this for now, just so we've got an idea. So once we've done it, we know this is going to be pretty much okay. We've already checked it in mobile view and actually previewed it. So if we go to next, We can see it's opt-in subscriber email 1 resend, and then we want to save it as draft. Now we've done that, if we go back to our drafts, we can see we've got our email 1 resend, which is the one we've just done, and we've got email 1 so we know that these two emails are the ones that we want to make sure are connected when we do our automation, and it will all make sense when we actually go through that workflow. So I'm going to do that for a couple more emails, and then we'll go back in and actually start building out our automation. And welcome back. So we can see here that I've actually pre-written some emails. We can see how I've set them out. I've done opt-in email subscriber 1 of 1, then I've done a resend, and I've done the same for a second where it's just email 2 and it's the first one in brackets, and then I've done email 2, and then I've done resend in brackets. And we do this, as I said previously, to make sure that we can obviously resend the emails to those that don't open the first email. So you could do this for as many emails as you want, and your automations can be as long and deep as you need them to be. So once we've done our draft emails, we want to head over to our automation. So if we click on the menu button at the top left and we go into automations, and this is where we can create our workflow. So we can either start from scratch or use a ready-made template. We're going to create ours from scratch. We want to create a workflow, and then it says here we can build from scratch. We can do some of these basic templates which are already pre-populated for us in here. But for the purpose of this, and you can see there are absolutely a myriad of different types of workflows that we can use for converting customers to converting contacts to customers, post, course, retargeting. So there's loads in here, but for the purpose of this, we're going to start from scratch. We're going to build ours out from literally nothing, and then before we log in, it gives you a bit of an idea of what this tool is. So there's a bit of a tutorial, and you can click on these links to take you to more examples and instructions. So we want to go through this if you haven't been through already, just so you understand how this works, and I encourage you to do that just so you understand how this is going to work for you, and potentially learn how you can actually utilize it better. So we want to give our automation a name, so I'm going to call this lead magnet, if I can spell it right, sign up. So whatever it is, that will mean you understand what this automation's for. And then we need to start the process. Now, how do we start this process? This is when somebody opts into our email list. So when they subscribe to our email list, this is how we want to start our automation. So we just want to click on that. But before that, I'm just going to copy this, and you'll see why in a second. So once we're in here, we can see that we've got subscribed via any method. We want to change that because we want to connect it to our specific list. Now this is the list that we set up at the very beginning, which is connected to our lead magnet page. Once they enter their email address, this is the list they will appear on. So this is the one we want to do. And then if we select the subscription method, you can select various types, but you can use API or any method. So I'm just going to choose any method for the purpose of this video. I'm also going to go in and go to settings. Oh, it has saved it. Okay, so it's saved the workflow name. I want to make sure that it's saved, and then it says starts immediately once you've completed, and it never ends, so you can continually have this on. So as and when somebody comes into your list, they'll start getting your messages in this format. So we've started off our automation, and the first we want to do is we need to select a message to send. So you can see on the right hand side we've got lots of different conditions here. We can tag our emails so we know that they've come into this automation if we wish to, but I want to try and keep this quite simple. So we want to send a message, so we want to drag the send the message up, and if we click in this box, it gives us the option to choose the message that we want to send. Now this is we've created our emails in draft, so we need to click draft here, and once you've done that, we need to decide on which email we want to send. Now this is the reason we numbered our emails, and we also put resend against the second email. So we want to go 1-1. This is the first email that they'll receive when they come into our list, and you can see here it says copy as automation. So it's going to take our draft emails, but we'll still have a draft copy if we want to amend that, and then it's going to put it into an automation workflow message as well. So it's going to copy the original message. So we want to apply, give it a couple of seconds, and you can see here it says that it's this is the message that we've created, and this is what we've done. And then we have the option of being able to connect this. Once they've subscribed, they will then be sent this message. So what do we want to do next? Well, we want to see if they've taken a particular action. So we want to know whether or not they've actually opened our emails. And up until earlier this year, this is what I would always have done. I would have always put have they actually opened a message. So you'd click on the right hand side here, you'd choose a message opened, and then you drag that across, and then if it had opened it, then great, they'd go on to the another condition, which we'll go through in a second, and if they don't, we'd want to send the resend. But things have changed in the world of email automation in terms of how you can monitor what people are doing within your emails. Now, I'm going to leave a couple of links in the description below, but Apple updated some of their terms, so iOS 15, and I'll leave these links in the description below. So effectively it means that we won't get to see everything that we want to see when somebody takes an action. So by default they can actually increase their privacy. So even if they click on a link and open the email, if they open the email, we won't necessarily know that. So their mail privacy protection policies will show Apple users have opened an email, meaning that opens and open rates will now be overinflated. You should now be looking at your clicks rather than going through the typical metrics that we'd go. So there's another article here which is actually quite interesting, and it says here that the email address is also cloaked. So they have an option if they go within the iCloud Plus, so they can cloak their email address, so we're not necessarily seeing what they're doing. So we need to change the this from opened to clicked. Now the reason we want to do that is because if they are clicking links, they are active, they're interested, and that really is a better metric than someone just opening an email. So if we grab the when link is clicked, and we want to connect these two, so we know that this is now going through the workflow. So if we click in here, it says what do we actually want to measure. So is it a newsletter? No, it's an automation. Any link clicked within a specific message, and then we need to select that message. And you can see here, because we've already dragged this into our automation, it's already populated. So once it's done that, we can see once they've taken an action in here and they've clicked a link, we can move on to the next section. We can also add some scheduling in terms of wait a certain period of time before another action's taken. So from here, when we've sent that first email, they're obviously going to either click or they're not going to click, and then depending on what they do, we want to delay our next action. So for the purposes, I'm going to change that to 0 and actually make this 8 hours. Again, you can decide on how you want to do this. So I'm going to put 8 hours in terms of them waiting before we do something else. And then I want to add another condition, and that is actually a wait condition. So I'll add a wait condition, and we're going to wait for 1 day. So someone actually takes an action and they've clicked, we want that to wait 1 day. But then if they haven't clicked anything in our email list, we then want to send them another email. So we want to send a message, but this time we want to send the message that because they haven't clicked, we want to send the second message in this series which we set up earlier. So if we go to our drafts, then we want to select a message, and you can see here it's the email one, resend, and again it's saying it's going to copy as an automation message. So we click yes, and then we can see here it's that's the email again, and then we can connect these two up here, and there we go, we've connected our message. So once someone's obviously taken an action and clicked in this email, then we want to send them on to the wait condition as well. Now if they haven't clicked it, we want to let them wait 1 day anyway, and then from here we want to then go to our next email. So then we want to send our second email. Let's move this down a little bit. So after we've waited for 1 day, we then want to be sending them our second email and third email, fourth email, however many you want to set up. So we need to click on this box again, and then we need to choose draft. Then we go to our email 1. So this is the first email in that series. Again, it's going to copy it as an automation. We click apply, and we can see that it's populated it there. And then again, we want to add that same condition, which is, have they clicked a link? So we need to come down here. Let's move that down. So if they, once they've had the second message, if they've taken an action and they've actually clicked the link, fantastic. We want them to move on to the next day. So we need to add in a wait condition. And I think you get the picture now. We can see that it start to flow. If they haven't opened the message, we then want to send them another message. And this message is going to be the draft message, but it's going to be our resend. So it gives us a second chance to get them to actually take the action we wanted to in the first email. But because they haven't done that, then we've basically resent pretty much the same email, but just with some things changed up, hopefully with a bit more enticing of a headline and some better copy to get them to take that action. So we've set up our workflow. They've come into our email autoresponder basically by subscribing to our list, getting the free download. We've sent the message 1, and then we've basically waited to see if they take an action. If they've taken an action, they're then sent on to a wait condition. If they didn't take an action and they've not clicked a link, we then sent them to a different version of that same email, so we can see if they'll actually take that action for us. Then they will wait for 1 day. Then we want to send the second email, or however many you want to set up, but effectively this is the process. We send the second email, and again the same wait condition, the same condition, which is basically if a link's clicked. If they do, then it goes on to wait 1 day, and if they don't, they get sent a second email. And then from there, you can continue to add as many of these as you want. For the sake of this, once they've been through this process, I want to make sure I know that they've been through this process, so we can add what's called a tag. So a tag would be an identifier, so we understand that these people, once they've opted in, have been through our automation sequence at the very beginning, so they know what we're about, what it is we're trying to promote, and we know what actions they've taken because we can go in and actually look at the metrics once we've done all this. So I'm going to add a tag, and it says assign a tag. Now at the moment we haven't got a tag, we haven't set them up, so we need to add a tag. So we're going to call this opt-in list automation. Something that's is specific to you, so you understand what that is. So we're going to add, you have to add these underscores in here. So once you've done that, we'll click add, and then we want to add that, and we can see that it says assign tag opt-in automation, and then we just basically click those in. And there we have our first workflow. Very basic, but you get the point, you get the picture. Like I said, you can add as many emails into this list as you want, and you can add as many of these different conditions in as you wish to add. But it's a really good idea to come and have a play. But when you're first starting out, something like this is all you need. Once you've set up the basic framework, we then need to come up to the top right hand corner, and we want to save and publish. So we click save and publish. And we get a message saying amazing workflow. Now, if you set something up incorrect in GetResponse, it will flag that for you, and it will show you where the automation doesn't actually flow. So you'll need to go in and correct that. But effectively, we've done that. So if we want to see our workflow, we click in here, and we can see that it's published and it's actually running. So anybody that's subscribed to our lead magnet is automatically being sent through that process of receiving those emails. And hopefully increasing our the actions that they actually take by sending resends as well. So that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to save this workflow, and I'll leave a link in the description so you can download this yourself and you can use this automation if you want to get started using the premium tool within your free account. If you still haven't got your free account, I would encourage you to go and click the link in the description and open your account. And if you haven't followed through on this playlist, then you want to go back to the beginning, and it'll walk you through the whole process of signing up, setting up your first autoresponder, how you go about building your landing page, making sure your landing page is legal with some links on the website builder that you also get as part of the free forever program within GetResponse, and then obviously we've just set up this workflow as well. So as I said, stick around, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because in the next video I'm going to show you how you can take what you've built here and start driving traffic to your lead magnet or opt-in page, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I appreciate you watching these videos. Until next time, my name's Sean from Affiliate Income Hero, and I'll speak to you soon.